Hey, what's up,
Yeah.
everybody? Welcome, jammers and chefs, viewers. Welcome to the showcase for the seventh jam of the Culture Bytes Game Jam series, the Golden Saucer Jam. If you're here, you've already been participating in our jam, or you've heard about it and want to tune in to see what we've been making the last couple of weeks of our jammers. To start things off, let's introduce a little bit of what we were doing the last couple weeks. Uh, Culture Bites is an ongoing series of jams hosted by us, the Melanated Game Kitchen. Each jam is a series aimed at creating unique interactive experiences under the context of the African diaspora. And we do this within a 1 to 2 week period. The focus of this series has been to create unique experiences with these themes and also give us more time to create something as interesting without having to be stressed or pressed for time, right? So, this last couple weeks, we've been creating new games together under the theme of what was our theme again? Under the theme of Finish Line, to give our members and other new people a chance to finish up a new project or a previous project and finish up a new feature, do something from start to finish, and kind of end the year on a good note of finishing something through its completion. Uh, if you're already near completion for a game, juicing it up to take it to the next level, these kinds of things. So we're going to go over the different things that we've that people have made and see the ways that people have incorporated our different themes into the game, into their games as well. Also, we had a creative theme of tick, 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 which was about taking your actions. Your actions take time and energy. And at the end of your experience, the character's hypothetical quote unquote life would be over. So we'll see if teams have found a way to incorporate this in any kind of way as well. Um, so yeah, that's the gist. We're excited as well to have a guest host today for our first time ever in our Game Jam series of Culture Bites. We're welcoming in Josh Boykins today of IntelliGame. You may have seen Josh on Twitch with his IntelliGame Twitch streams and his IntelliGame community. In addition, you may have also seen him for other gaming related events doing hosting duties, including Game Devs of Color most recently, as well as Wholesome Games in particular. These are both groups that we love and keep up with and are part of ourselves. So it's awesome to have him on board to help us talk with these jammers and go over these games. Josh,
Yeah, hey, it's good to be here. Thank you for the invite and for the great introduction. It's nice to get an opportunity to see some, new games in development. It's always a blast to be able to, help celebrate up and coming development of any kind, but particularly when it's coming from the community, it's real exciting, And coming here around the holidays too, it's nice to just have something to enjoy, some stuff to be thankful for. and being thankful for Melanated Game Kitchen makes a whole lot of sense. So yeah.
We are giving thanks this Thanksgiving season and in celebration of food, as always. The sweet potato is our food of choice for this jam. And the sweet potato sampler is a dish that we came up with to feature all of the best sweet potato dishes that have, I guess you would say, are popular in particular in America
Mm.
from our backgrounds. So I'll be cooking sweet potatoes this week myself.
It's a
So
classic.
yes, it's a classic. One of my faves. Absolutely. Yes, yes. But I guess with that, I think we can go ahead and get into games.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, dope, dope. All right. So first off, we'll be bringing in the team Clock Out at 2 with Mac and possibly their other team member, Selena, to tell us about what they've been making.
Yeah.
Just give me a sec.
Yeah, I think yeah, I was gonna say I think we're gonna take a quick break while we're making that transition. So enjoy some music while we get set up for our first showcase. All right, everybody, welcome in. I just want to do a quick tech check, make sure all of our windows and images are looking good. My name's Josh. I am here doing a little bit of guest hosting for Melanated Game Kitchen, and I've got our first game showcase. I'll give you folks an opportunity to introduce yourselves, Mac and Dave. Mac, do you want to kick us off?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So, hello everyone. My name is Mac, and I'm the producer slash narrative designer for Clock Out at 2. And yeah, would you like me to introduce the game, or should I do it after Dave does his introduction?
Yeah, why don't we hear? And Dave, you want to introduce yourself, and then we'll talk about the game.
No, I'm kidding. My name's Dave, and for Clock Out at 2, I did music, sound design, and a bit of audio programming.
Cool. All right, so yeah, tell me a little bit about Clock Out at 2.
Yeah, so Clock Out at 2 was, basically born out of a previous jam called Spooktober. And Spooktober is all about visual novels and creating creepy, thrilly kind of stories. And so we wanted to kind of change the narrative in a sense that, okay, what's scary to us, right? What's scary to melanated people? And so we're like, we're like microaggressions. So we decided to create a game about the microaggressions in the workplace and how they manifest into monsters. So that's the premise of the game. And throughout the game, you have to deal with kind of the microaggressions from different characters, and you have to find a way to deal with it, as well as getting your work done in time. But as you're getting your work done, your stress is like rising, it's rising. And so you need to also figure out a way to do self-care and manage. So we also have self-care mechanics. So hopefully, it's just a demo right now, but at the end of the game, we're hoping to have players not only be able to identify and deal with the microaggressions that happen in work that are often left unseen, and then also figure out ways to balance their mental energy and their health. So that's the overall narrative.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we've got a video of the game, right, in action. Is that something we can take a look at?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I say yes, but I don't control that.
Oh yeah. No, I was just trying to give him a cue.
Like maybe.
Okay, looks like we've got it going. So, yeah, tell me a little bit about the development process. Obviously, it sounds like it was neither of your first game jams. What did it feel like coming back to an old project, Dave?
Well, I felt it was kind of exciting to be able to refine it because in a game jam, it's like we try to separate things out and set enough time and set proper scope, but at the end it still ends up being like, oh no, this thing isn't working, but that thing's not working. Oh, we definitely didn't get any of that in. So it was exciting to be able to come back to it and kind of refine some things and add some more stuff. But at the same time, the creative mind still goes like, oh great, we got more time. Let's actually add all these things and those things, and then it's like, oh wait, no, we actually have to fix the things that we said we're gonna fix last time. So it was a bit exciting, a bit of both. Yeah.
Scope creep. It doesn't matter the project you're working on. It's always a challenge, right?
Yeah.
Did you so tell me a little bit about what we're seeing on screen? It looks like you did you develop this was this RenPy?
Yes. Oh, good eye. Yeah. So we made this in RenPy, and besides like Unity, maybe like other visual novel making engines. So I was doing a good chunk of the programming, and so I don't really do too much programming. So RenPy was easy enough for me to get a hold of. And then this is technically my second game jam, or sorry, my second visual novel that I've created. So yeah.
Okay. Cool. So, did you two collaborate on sort of the scenarios that you wanted to put together? How you created the protagonist, that kind of thing, or how did you divide up the work for the game?
Should I speak on that, or Dave, would you like to speak on that?
I mean, we can like take turns talking. Like, I actually came in a little later because Meg had been talking about working on it. Because the Spooktober game jam was actually a month long, and it was actually before October. So he was talking about it in some other meetings, and they didn't have audio at that point. So I think I came in like I think like maybe like the last 1 or 2 weeks. So I kind of came in near more near the end of it. So I didn't do too much development on the story or anything. So I won't pass it over to Mac for that one.
He's being modest, but yeah, like we
Well,
were
I made it do a
running
couple
kind
things.
of we were running very low on time, and I hadn't found a sound person, so I was like, okay, well, Dave, because Dave and I work on like several other projects together, so we
Mhm.
working on like a Bass Reeves project together and like a few other stuff. And so I was like, okay, I know Dave is like, stretched thin, but I was like, hey, Dave, here's the story. Are you interested? He was like, oh, yeah, tell me. And I was like, okay, perfect. So that's how we got on. But in terms of the story, we did have a lot of sessions where basically I would explain the theme, and then we would kind of talk about the characters and their motivations, and then I would just have everyone kind of talk a little bit about their experience it and to see if it's relatable, right? And so by them telling me, hey, I've experienced this, or maybe during the meeting we have, and this is in game, an in-game meeting, what if someone talks about, oh, how about you, the main character, Celia, right? She's like Afro-Latina, and
Mhm.
in the meeting, they're like, hey, tell us about this urban demographic, and then uh, he's like, oh, why are you pointing to me? That's not my area. But it's like no, and then they're like, no, yeah, it's your area.
Because
No, no,
Right.
because you got the hair. I
Just
mean,
because you have right.
yeah,
You're an urban
right. You're on those type of people, right?
one of right.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Exactly. It's those hidden microaggressions because like we know what it is, but they're just like I don't know. They can't put their finger on it, so they kind of stumble over their words. But yeah, that was kind of the general process. Yeah.
Okay, very cool, very cool. So, how did I guess for me, one of the biggest challenges in a game jam is trying to figure out where to put like the finish line, right? So,
Mm.
you're obviously are coming up to the end of the weekend. You're trying to figure out, okay, well, how much of a story do I want to tell? How much do I want to show off in my sort of vertical slice? How did you determine which areas to prioritize as you were coming back to the project?
That is
Hello,
a good
I'm
question.
Nigel, and
So
I'm going to
basically,
be
how it went
presenting
is that in the
Mhm.
previous jam, I actually already outlined like the full story in game, and then as I'm programming, I'm realizing this is a lot more work than I thought, and so I was like, okay, let's kind of decrease the scope. So we were able to do about half of Act One, and then in this jam, right, I was thinking, okay, I'm programming, I'm producing, I'm writing. I will only have time to focus on one. So
Hmm.
I ended up finding a producer, and so now she just started, and so we're hoping for the next jam that she can just like focus on that. And then I was mostly doing programming, and the goal was just to get in the new health system. So in terms of story, nothing new has been really added, but we did make some adjustments based on the health system. So now there's several different ways for you to get a game over, and yes.
Very cool. So, do you have bigger plans for what you want to do with the game overall? Is it something you want to try and take to a larger scale release? Do you feel like it's yeah? How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I want to say yes. So just based on the topic, I think a lot of people can relate to it. In the previous jam, I had quite a few people play test it. I have quite a few people do streams, and then Dave can talk about his streaming experience. But people relate to it. People say, "Hey, I have Miss Darcy, I have Mr. Mark in my workplace." Even here in Japan, people, I had my friend play it, and they're like, "Yo, like I go through this, right?" So maybe we'll have a clock out of two in Japan, right? But I think the microaggressions and the things that we go through work, I think we do kind of just tolerate it, and it is very like a global phenomenon.
Yeah,
So yes, I do hope to expand on it. Yeah.
Dave, can you carry on with that a little bit? I mean, I imagine you have some of your own experiences with microaggressions and what you think the how the game takes some of that story.
Oh yeah. Excuse me. Well, myself, I've been lucky enough not to experience that firsthand, but I have a good friend of mine who, she has experienced it, and it's kind of funny. Like I saw her like go through the whole process of like, bringing it up to the manager, and then they say, "Oh, you're just being over emotional," but then they won't answer her questions, and then they say, "Oh, you don't know, maybe you just don't know enough about this." And she was a software developer, and seeing this game come out after that, I'm like, "Yo, this is literally you." That's crazy. And I showed it to another friend, and he just sent me a Facebook because I just sent him the link to the itch.io page, and he just sent me a message back, and he was like, "If your goal was to make me feel uncomfortable, you succeeded." And I was like, "I mission complete, I guess." And when I showed it on stream, and I do read along streams where we'll read visual novels or RPGs that don't have voices, and like I'll invite people into the Discord. We'll like each pick a character and read.
Oh,
And
cool.
as soon as they started reading the character, like, "Oh no!" I'm like, "Yep, you know what it is. Let's go, let's go."
Right.
So they had fun with it, but it definitely resonated with everyone that I showed it to as well.
I think that's one of the interesting things about putting together a game like this, and particularly in a community with other melanated folks, right? Is that being able to dive into something like microaggressions, where anybody can have garbage treatment at work, right? But it's that additional level of, here are the racial complexities, or the sort of assumptions of, well, this is a thing that you're just going to put up with because you're a person of color, you're just that's fine for you, right? I think the ability to develop a game like this and to be able to share it in community, and even like have it on stream with folks, it sounds like you've already been able to make quite a difference with the game. So congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think we've already gone through the video. We're kind of wrapping some things up. So I mean, I imagine you folks are involved in game dev and whatnot. Otherwise, do you have other projects that you want to share, or how people can find you out there on the internet? Dave, you want to start?
Yeah, I think Mac's gonna mirror this one, but both him and I are working on a project called Law and Judgment, and it focuses on uh, a guy named Bass Reeves, who was the one of the best African American lawmen in the Wild West back in the 1800s. So that's a game that we're currently working on with a couple other people within the Melanated Game Kitchen group. And aside from that, I am working on an audio drama called Vaporware, which is it's a sci-fi audio drama about AI, because that's a big thing now. It doesn't use AI like tools, but it has characters that are in it that are AI characters.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, that's an audio drama I'm working on, and I post about all this stuff over on like my Twitter, which is Virix_Dreamcore. I can like write that out. But yeah, and I also do music production sound design, open for like contract commission work. So yeah, but I do all that over. I post a lot about that on my Twitter and on my Instagram, all those social media places.
Sick. Okay, very cool. And I'll have to check out that audio drama.
There's a there's a trailer of it out and a sneak peek of a bit of it too.
Oh, okay, very cool, very cool. And Mac, where can folks find you, catch up with your stuff?
Well, if you ever come to Japan, please hit me up. I'm based here in Tokyo. But yeah, like it's nice to be either in the Melanated Game Kitchen or you can find me on Itch or LinkedIn. I'm just having many different I guess activities where we can like fellowship and then co-create. And then I think number one place is probably LinkedIn. So besides just the different game projects, I also own a translation company. So I translate a lot of like movies, TV shows, and documentaries.
Dang, that's legit. Well, I tell you what, like next time I take a trip to Japan, I will hit you up. I went to Tokyo Game Show a few years ago, and I just like have not been able to get it out of my head. So I'll take you up on that offer.
Yeah, please do. I've had a few game devs of color actually like come over and I always like show them around. I think I had one guy and he just wanted a bunch of figurines for all the robots, so like Gundam, Voltron, Transformers. So I was like, I took him around and showed him all, the best places to find.
Dang. All right. Well, I already I'm learning and gaining from these experiences too. So, Mac, Dave, thank you so much for showing us Clock Out at 2. To all the MGK community, please make sure you check out the game. It's the link to the itch.io page just got posted in the chat. Congratulations on the project, folks, and looking forward to seeing more of it as it continues in development.
Great.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think now we're going to take a little bit of a break as we get started and prep for our next showcase, which let me see. I feel like I have a menu some here. Shoot. Nope, I'm not as prepared as I should be. Can I line like Burr, who's our next one up to bat? We've got 2 more showcases coming up. It looks like, oh, here we go. Crumble Party. Yes, no problem at all. Crumble Party is going to be showing up next. See, I gotta get my stuff together. It's a Sunday evening, folks. My brain has clocked out at 2, so we will see you in
Nice.
just a little bit with Crumble Party.
All right.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back for the second game in our Golden Saucer Showcase. Today, we're coming at you with Crumble Party, which is actually I remember seeing this in a prior jam and being kind of excited about it. So I'm glad it's getting a little bit of additional love here. We've got Dave returning for this one, as well as Wayne, who's with us today. How's it going today, Wayne?
Hey, good to be here, y'all. Oh, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
So,
Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good. Discord's not agreeing with my video capture, but we're surviving.
that's okay. Discord, maybe also Discord clocked out it too. It's fine. I'm gonna
Right.
grind that joke into the ground. Um, all right, and then Dave, we've got you here, and Tim was also part of this team as well.
hmm
I don't know if Tim's gonna hop in and chat every so often, but do you want to tell us a little bit about Crumble Party, Wayne? Give us the overview.
Yeah, definitely. So, this was a submission for the last MGK Game Jam as well, and the official sort of like tagline for this game is kind of like a Mario Party with like one mini game, and um, it was a really great experience again to kind of like go over and like have the opportunity to kind of like flesh it out a lot more than how it was before. It added some VFX, some new art, and essentially like tuned up like the story and the functionality of a lot of different systems. And yeah, really proud of it. Really proud of the team, and um, we were kind of put in a unique situation because I was actually gone for like the beginning half of the jam and then picked back up.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah. Um, but like despite that, we still got like a lot done. I'm actually really surprised at how much like we were able to get done.
That's dope. That's real cool. Well, I tell you what, why don't we start off by I think we've got a video of some Crumble Party gameplay. We
Ooh.
can watch some of that while we talk through.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, did you say something? Did I cut you off, Dave?
I said, let's go.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I cut off the excitement was what I cut off. Oh, okay. All right. Well, then yeah, why don't you give us a little bit of a breakdown of how the gameplay works? You said it's got a little bit of Mario Party, but it also has a mini game.
Yes. So, in common game jam fashion, we didn't finish, but at the same time, like because it was still like an entry for a previous game jam, it's still like pretty like fleshed out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there is with every Mario Party type game, there's the board game aspect, and then there's like the mini games and everything in between, right? So, with the board game aspect of it, some final bugs got the best of us before the deadline, but don't
Sure.
worry. You know, uh, we love this game at this point, and we're definitely gonna keep updating it because we want to show you guys how cool like we made everything. But the mini game aspect of it is fitting the theme of Tick 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 by having a countdown timer, and your goal is to harvest as many pound cakes as you can from the stage. But the thing about this task is that you have enemies falling from the sky trying to shoot you off the pound cake
Okay.
itself. Yeah, and then you also have like the cake slices themselves, like the stage, it's separated in divisions. So like as you're harvesting, if you harvest enough, then that part of the cake will fall down. So you have to like move out of the way in
Okay.
order to like keep going.
Dope. Okay. Yeah, let's see. Oh, Tim, who is being shy, but is typing in the chat, uh, it said it describes it as a solar punk Mario Party and a fantastic food world,
hmm
which I mean, does sound like one of those quotes that would make the back of the box real nice. So yeah, well
It's a
marketed.
All about the one-liners. Yeah.
Yeah, see, there he is. Welcome in. Well, it looks like I think we've got some video running so folks can see what the game looks like. Tim, tell me a little. Well, and I guess we've got to get a bit of the breakdown. So, like, Wayne, what was your roles on the team, and then we'll go to Tim and Dave.
Yeah. So I have pretty much been leading as a lead programmer and audio implementer. And I think that's all I really did. I don't think I did too much game design. I left that to the experts of Tim and Dave. He did an amazing job there. And Dave, do you also want to go? I'll also give a shout out to everyone else, but before you do, Shadow worked on Shadow F is another programmer who worked with us, who also worked on the enemy AIs. Let's see, we have Maggie and Danielle. Or Maggie was a writer for the game, and Danielle was the artist for the 3D models. We also have a new artist that joined this game as well. We have Terrence, who worked on some the new updated trees that you see in the background there. Those are pound cake trees.
And it's a good thing pound cake doesn't grow on trees. I'd be in trouble.
Same here. My favorite food is cake. But yeah, Dave, do you want to go?
Yeah. Also, I'll start with my. Well, I'll start with what I did. So I did the game design, and I was the lead sound designer, and I also composed a bit of music for the game. And you mentioned shoutouts. I wanted to do a shout out to another sound designer that came in near the end, named Darius, and he did some of the sound effects for the board game portion, which I don't think we're showing here because we still got some kinks to work out there, but it's going along. And yeah, it's a lot of the thing you said you get in trouble if you ate off the pound cake trees. Is basically, or you're not eating the pound cake, but that's basically what's happening here, because you're taking the pound cake and, well, you take too much of it and it'll be gone.
Yeah.
Right.
So it'd be a detriment, because the goal with the minigame is that you don't have to take all of it. You just have to take enough to give to one of the characters on the game board, because the idea for the last one was to collect enough pound cake slices to keep the economy going. That's like the kind of a rough overview idea.
I can't believe you're asking me to be sustainable with my pound cake consumption. That's ridiculous. I appreciate it. It's a great lesson, self-control, but I want all the pound cake.
I mean, if you just want to fall into the abyss, hey, it's your world.
Tim, what was your role on the project?
Yeah, the team said I was working on the game design heavily with the team, also with some programming assistance and any narrative help that needed to be done, and some light production help as well. But yeah, between me and Dave was really doing a lot of concept work of what the overall larger game design was going to be, in the world building, and the economic pieces of trying to figure out how to make a sustainable economic system in a world building like this, and make it actually affect gameplay. So that's some of the stuff that's not being shown on the video. That's the board game aspect is, sustainable economics, but in a fun way kind of stuff. So that's kind of the heady design concept.
Well, it's one of the nice things about a jam game is it gives you that opportunity to kind of dive in and experiment with the theme. Lady Amos says, we don't have to worry about it too much. The pound cake will trickle down to others. I can just eat all the pound cake and it'll be fine. That's fine. That's how we keep the economy going. So tell me a little bit about what were some of the parts that surprised you in coming back to the game and being able to do some of that additional work? Did you feel like there was a moment where you're like, oh, this was a little better than I remembered, or oh, here's an idea that I didn't come up with the first time around that actually would fit really well in here. Wayne, do you feel like there was something that surprised you in the course of coming back to development?
Okay. Funny enough, when you first asked that question, I was I was thinking of like, I'm gonna be honest, I was thinking about negative things like, oh, that was already fixed. How is that broken again? But you're right. No, like there are a lot of functionalities that we've decided on that in particular with some of the content that you're not able to see, but with the tiles of like their functionality and stuff like that, like um a lot they were really fleshed out, and it was really sort of like it like it, the world building aspect of it didn't click for me until I was working on that this time around, and I really like loved how everything was going, and I it was really nice seeing like the art along the way. You guys can't see it for the board game, but like it's amazing. Like Terrence did a great job on that. And of course, like I'm working with like people like Tim and Dave who are just like great at what they do, and it's just always a nice experience with this project. Yeah, that was nice. How about you, Dave?
Something I noticed that, or like that I recognized coming back that I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when I'm in a jam, like I'll set things up quickly, and then it's like, all right, cool, it's working great. And I came back and I think, where'd those sounds go? Why did I put? It's like, oh, this is more complex than I thought it was. this is more. I guess it's more of a negative thing, but it is something. It is something that I noticed, which kind of gave me a hint of like, okay, how can how can I set this up better next time, and also communicating with others, ideas, and seeing how they kind of like flesh out. And coming back, I didn't do too much. I was just like more fixing and tightening sounds and stuff. So I didn't have a huge role in this in the second round of development, aside from doing just adding a couple more sounds. But yeah, this is more complex, so let me take more notes. Take pictures of the blueprints. Take pictures of like, this is gonna go here. So when I come back later, or 1 week or 1 month, I don't have to go like, where was the dice thing at again? Where was the enemy projectile spot? What script was that? It's like, oh, it's right here. Okay, cool, and I can go in and do it. So being more organized.
Documentation, it's always the last thing to get done, and the first thing you wish you had when you come back. So I totally get that. Tim, did you have anything that surprised you or jumped out at you?
Yeah, not much. I think I expected a lot of things. I think the last point that Dave had made about knowing where things are and what things do, I already knew that was going to be an issue when we started this project up again, based upon how we did things last time. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be a headache. So that was unexpected. That was expected, and it did happen. And the thing I was trying to push this time around was like anything that I did see that was like, this doesn't make sense, or this is not gonna fly if we keep working on this thing in more detail, or I'm not gonna remember what this is, so I need to adjust this now. That was like a focus a little bit this time around. So yeah.
Cool. Well, I mean, I will say the thing that has surprised me about Crumble Party is just how many people were involved. And I think that, and I mean that in a great way, that it's really cool to be able to see a community project like this where so many people can contribute their different skills and make something that would have been really difficult for any person to do individually. So, congratulations to y'all on doing the updates to Crumble Party. I'm looking forward to seeing the board game component and more of that as things keep going. Um, I just since we're wrapping up here, want to give you folks a chance to give a quick shout out to where folks can find you or your project. Wayne, did you want to let folks know how to catch up with you?
Yeah. Let's see. So I'm also working on the Basseries project. That's been fun. Acting as a gameplay programmer there.
Dope.
Um, and I own my own video game studio, Neptune's Cloud. We're working on our first in-house project, so that's been a process. That's really good.
Yo, congrats.
Excited. Um, Having fun with my team there. You can follow me on my socials for that indie studio at official Neptune's Cloud, I think it is, on Instagram, and just Cloud Neptune on like Twitter or something. Uh, yeah. I think that's about it.
Okay. Okay. Dave, you want to give your rundown one more time, real quick?
Well, yeah. So yeah, I mentioned I was working on the Basseries project as a audio designer, and I'm working on my own audio drama called Vaporware, like VAPORWARE,
Mm-hmm.
and you can find more. That has its own Twitter account called Vaporware A for audio drama. I couldn't put the whole word in there; they only let me put the one letter. So Vaporware A on Twitter, and it's an audio drama about an AI planet that's been dormant for 300 years. So now someone's going to find out what happened. So I'm working on that. That's my other big project that I'm working on. And I also do music composition and sound design for games, just in general. So Virix, that's VIRIX _ Dreamcore on Twitter, Dreamcore V on Instagram and TikTok. I do all sorts of stuff on those things. So yeah.
Cool. And Tim, you want to let folks know where they can find you?
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
I could, you
for
can't. I didn't surprise you. Like you knew it was coming.
for me, obviously y'all can find me in the Melanated Game Kitchen Discord. I'm one of the co-organizers. Um, and otherwise, any other places as far as my work, most of my other work is in AAA games, so I'm not going to see much of that anywhere to check out explicitly. But you can catch me on Twitter at Timstatis, TIMSTATIS. Occasionally, I do post actual work-related things from some of my bigger projects. And you can also find me Tim Status, also other socials as well. Yeah, I guess just be on the lookout for more culturally relevant games and interactive works. There'll be some new stuff coming in some years' time from myself and the rest of my team at Brass Lion Entertainment. But until then, keep it locked in the Game Kitchen.
Well, that's gonna be some. I'm real excited to see what comes out of Brass Lion. There's some real fantastic people over there, but I'll also coming right out of the Melanated Game Kitchen, because this Bass Reeves project, as we can see, has a lot of really good talent on it. So yeah, excited to see where things go in the future. Thank you, Crumble Party team, for taking some time to show off your game. I think we're going to go ahead and get ready for our last game of the showcase, Soul Gears, which I'm excited to check out, and I hope you all are too. In the meantime, we'll leave you with some good tunes and some good recipes. And if you happen to make any of these, I've seen some discussion in the chat about the recipes and the transition. Make sure you share those food pictures. If the pictures don't make it to the Discord, the food doesn't count. So
That's true.
do your due diligence.
That's facts.
Yeah, we'll see you in just a little bit. Thanks, team.
Thanks, Josh.
Peace.
All right, everybody. I have been thinking so much about sweet potatoes. We're gonna have to get out of here kind of soon so I can get something to eat. But obviously, we're not gonna leave before we showcase our last game of the showcase, Soul Gears. I've got Nigel and Will here from the dev team. How are you folks doing today?
I'm doing good, and yourself?
Doing good, doing good. Will, how are you doing?
Dude, I'm ready to go. Trying to-
Yeah.
Will's like, wait, no, I need the sweet potatoes too. We need to get moving. Nigel, tell me a little bit about Soul Gears.
Yeah. So Soul Gears is my first game jam with it. It's a bit of a passion project. It started off as like a tabletop game that I've been working on paper and stuff mostly, and I wanted to try and bring it into like a digital version of it. At least like start with like a character sheet and like one of those like top-down grids and stuff that you see in some games. So I pitched out the idea, and thankfully I got Darius to do sound effects, who isn't here sadly, but we also got Will to do art for us as well too. So we didn't quite get to finish the full prototype, but we're gonna at least be able to show you off a little bit, and talk at least about like the concept art and the mechanics and stuff like that we would have wanted to get in.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice being able to do that nice analog to digital adaptation. That's dope. I think we've got a video to show off a little bit of what's going on. If we can get that playing, and we'll talk with y'all on the team about what the process was like. Will, tell me a little bit about what you did on the project.
So what I basically did in the project was I was in charge of the art and the art direction of the game, and so we decided to go with more of a 2D pixel art style. And of course, the aesthetic was supposed to be robotic cowboys on the moon. So I wanted to make sure that to have the characters be kind of a wide range of body types for robots, while also being color coded in a way that allows it to be readable. Because I know a lot of like steampunk and outlaw, a lot of characters kind of have the same kind of coloration. So by adding different colors for each of the characters, it allows them to have their own personality while being able to be readable for players.
That's dope. Being able to put those, make sure it's functional for the player while also bringing some life to the table. Do you want to give me a little bit of just sort of how the game works, Nigel? Like, what's the basic gameplay?
Yeah, so it's sort of like your turn-based tabletop RPG and stuff. Like the premise is that these robots abandoned on Mars, and they were basically failed robots for the human colonization of the planet and stuff. So years pass by, and they kind of use the scraps to be kind of their version of cowboys and stuff. So the mechanics include stuff like using lassos to tie up enemies, maybe using firearms to try and subdue them. Some things we didn't quite get to was like implementing their battery power, because it's called Soul Gears because they're all supposed to be solar powered, and Mars is very different conditions than Earth. So part of like fighting is also like keeping your battery power up. If it goes all the way down, you're forced into sleep mode, which would leave you vulnerable on such a harsh planet. Yeah.
That's cool. That's very cool. Tell me a little bit about, and I'm thinking about that whole like, you need to rest, otherwise you will leave yourself vulnerable. And I'm like, that's not just a Mars problem. That's a me problem. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell me a little bit about what was it like adapting the game to digital.
It was a lot of I am sort of familiar with Unreal, working with it in my day to day, but working on it like Unreal Raw with all the tools and stuff that I usually have and stuff is definitely different. A lot of data types and data tables, more so background work setting up, so that you can kind of drag and drop different stats and attributes, and hopefully we'll get to eventually implement like abilities and things like that too. Yeah.
Cool. And I'm seeing that on the screen we've got a number of different pieces of art. We're seeing some of the pixel art and some of it's like maybe some concepts and some sprites as well, Will.
Hmm.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about the design process for coming up with these. There's a lot of style in these images.
So usually, when it comes for me like designing characters, I try to think about like, okay, what would not only look cool, because the whole thing about art is you want to make sure the game looks cool for people that want to keep playing the game. So I was like, okay, what would be really cool for the main character? So I wanted him to be red because red usually symbolizes victory, and it's usually the main character. And I wanted to give him more of like a sleek design that had that kind of cool Western cowboy aesthetic. And then when we go to the bandit, the green bandit's supposed to be more like that lean, kind of Waluigi aesthetic, where it's like you can tell he's kind of like a mischief guy. And then for the monk, I wanted the monk to be. I at first I was going to go with the monk being a little bit more taller and of course like get a Zenyatta feel. But then I remember one of the old TV shows that I used to like back in the day that had like a monk named Omi. I'm not sure if you guys watched it on Showdown, but I was like, okay, that would actually be a really nice like different way to see a monk being super short while every other character is usually tall, big, or lanky. So going back to the whole thing of having different body types, I think having the characters look completely different from each other allows them to have their own type of identity, which would get players and people who see them interested in like why they look that way.
Uh, Being able to bring in those elements of body diversity, there's a number of different ways that I think folks are trying to be more conscious of the ways that folks can see themselves represented in a game. So I really love that you brought that in as an aspect to consider in the design. And actually, there's some good conversation going on in the chat as well. Leda Ima says, I do love that a lot of the games in MGK have a theme of taking care of oneself, whether it be mental, physical, or pound cake wise. Which like, I'm just saying, like next time send me some pound cake and before the showcase. That's fine. But yeah, that is super dope. What are some of the ideas that you have for the tabletop game? Like, are you still planning on working on that separately, or do you think you'll focus a little more on the digital conversion?
Probably a bit of both. It's definitely easier to paper prototype with lots of numbers and stats. We have a built-in calculator for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Some things are still easier to do on paper. Like you saw a little bit in the video, those screenshots, those were actual cards of like weapons and abilities and stuff. And I would just hand them to the player instead of having them like write out every single thing so they could manage that all a little bit easier through pictures. Yeah.
Okay. And tell me a little bit about what it was like coming back to the project, Wayne. Did it feel like you had some ideas, some like gas in the tank? You're like, oh, I'm glad I can come back to this thing, or did ideas kind of just pop up to you as you were coming back to it?
Honestly, I didn't come up with so many as new ideas because I already have like a whole player's handbook of stuff. I was just more so trying to like power through and try and figure out how can I get like the most important features into it as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like mostly it's just like the combat turn order and stuff, but I'd love to get some of the more cooler abilities because you mentioned battery power earlier. It's not just their life source, but it's also a thing that they can use for some attacks and stuff. Like you saw
nice.
like that monk character. The monks tend to not use firearms at all. They tend to all be melee focused. So they may use their battery power to have like electricity based attacks, or maybe they'll power up a shield to reduce damage and stuff like that.
Okay. It sounds like there's a wide variety of ability options. Wayne, how did it feel coming back to the project? Did you have some ideas that had been kind of simmering in the tank, or was it new stuff?
Oh, you mean Will?
Will, yeah, forgive me. That's why. That's the third time. Everybody's sitting there, and I was like, "Wait, did I break a thing?" And it's like, "No, you just forgot that you are on the third group of people and not the second." Josh, you over here. See, I was okay. Nope, that's on me. Yeah, but yeah, Will, please enlighten me. How was the design process the second time around?
Second time around do you mean like in game? Because this is technically my first game jam.
So was this
yeah.
so this was your first time working on this game, but this idea had been in a prior game jam, right? Or was this
no, this is my
first
no.
time? Oh,
is
so this
my
wasn't
first
a
one.
revisit. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, fantastic. Sorry, I did not realize. See, all of these ways that I should have been keeping up. That's on me. So if this was your first game jam, how did it feel working on a game jam? You know, it's a little bit of a fast-paced environment sometimes.
Oh yeah, like because I always wanted to like work in games and stuff like that. I never really had the chance to do so. But now like working in this, it's very much been like a new environment where it really puts fire under me. Like, okay, I need to get this done. Okay, well after I get this done, straight to the next one. Because usually my art process is like I try to make sure my work looks good and all that type of stuff. But for a game jam, it's like you gotta go this. And so
Mhm.
that's very much like it's a new experience that I should get used to if I really want to take like making games seriously. And I can't thank Nigel and um, yeah, I
Yeah.
can't thank them enough for what they did. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also it being Will's first one, I'm glad to work with you too. Like there are times we had to, like pivot and like sort of scope down and like reduce the amount of stuff that we had to do, updating tasks on Trello to see what we could get within a reasonable amount of time. Because for as much as we did get in, there was a lot of time that I just didn't have this week between work and burnout and stuff to really add all of their stuff in. Like there's a bunch of sound effects and just concept art and dialogue scenes we wanted to create.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's a lot. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
no, please go ahead.
There's a good amount of animation I wanted to do as well, like the reloading. There's some other characters that needed to be done too, but sadly, because of like time constraints, it didn't allow time for that to be developed as well. So yeah, there's that as well.
Well, it looks like you were able to make a lot of progress at the same time as hopefully taking some of that time to take care of yourself because burnout is not a joke. So I'm glad that you were, taking the time to respect yourselves at the same time as you were keeping the jam work going. Um, if you were to do second round of development on the game, as we're wrapping things up, what would be the first thing you would prioritize, Will?
Well,
Oh,
if I got a second shot, I definitely change some of the characters' designs up because I misinterpreted some of the designs, which is on my bad on my part. And I think I would definitely try to work on the animations quicker because me being a concept artist, I'm concept art first, animation second, and I think I took too long just trying to design the characters and not taking into account how much time we had. So if I just like did one go with the characters and then straight to animation, I believe I would have got a lot more done than just like trying to figure out okay what's the best design to go with these characters. So I think I need to do that for next jam.
okay. It's a great learning experience for sure, and it's part of why MGK is around. Is that you're jamming on a pretty regular basis, so you don't have to wait to get new opportunities to try new things. Nigel, if you were to do the revisit, where would you start?
I would love to try and get some basic dialogue systems in and stuff, or maybe experiment with other game engines and how their UI tools work. Unreal's UI is definitely very powerful, but there might be a lot more steps involved than we necessarily need for our first pass. Or I could just go back to Unity, I guess. But yeah, I'd love to like add some of the narrative and the lore stuff because that's the things I'm like most excited about.
Dope. Yeah, I heard that. Like, I guess I could go back to Unity and like, we all have those Unity feels right now, don't we? No, that was real cool though. Thank you for showing off Soul Gears. It, as mentioned in the chat, the name itself, the name already is super dope. But what you showed us in the video looks great, and I hope we get to see more of the game. As we wrap up, Nigel, you want to let folks know where they can find you?
I'm not really on social media much. I'm a bit of a private person, but
That's
I
smart.
guess they can find me on the itch.io page, nigeldemand.itch.io. If we update stuff, I'll put it there.
Okay. And Will.
Dude, I'm on like a lot of social media. Let's
Like,
see.
don't worry, I got you covered.
Yeah. So you can find me on Twitter, Arsenal Ogun, or you can find me on IG Night Marcher Ogun, And I have my own a little Etsy shop too that I do on the side, which you can find a Ogun's Design Shop. Um, most of these will be in my Twitter bio and my Instagram bio. So if you want to follow me and support me there, I'm over there.
Dope. All right, and then I think for folks who are looking for the Soul Gears link, you can find it in the chat. It got posted over there. I super appreciate it. Like I said, y'all killed it. So congratulations and thanks for joining us for the showcase.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're going to be just wrapping up. We're going to do one more quick transition as we bring Tim in and wrap up our showcase for the evening. This has been a blast. I'm always excited to be able to spend time with new games and new devs, and oh yeah, that's fantastic. So yeah, we will be back with you in just a little bit.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, that was fun. Lots of interesting concepts that people were talking about today, especially any I don't know, Josh, any favorites?
Yeah, I mean all of them. Like legit. I think the what I always love about game jams is that you get to see stuff that you wouldn't expect. If I'm an indie gamer myself, like I'll spend time in AAA, but I love indie because indie is where the ideas grow that become the things that we really like in AAA. And game jams to me are the places where we plant the seeds for what goes into what becomes the indie games that grow, that create the AAA space that folks get to love and appreciate 5 to 10 years later. So yeah, for me, it's always exciting to see new jams, new ideas. I love pound cake. I do, I love anything that gives me a new opportunity to check out a party game style is a lot of fun. I'm a big narrative game fan, and so the idea of playing a visual novel that's got some some deeper themes and ideas is always exciting. And then of course, I love how do you not love solar powered robots like on the
In
moon,
space.
like in space, like let's go. So yeah, I think all the projects seem really cool, and I'm really glad that everybody took the time to work on their projects and share them with the showcase.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, these like 2 weeks, have these like paced out 2 week times, but like even in 2 weeks, the weekend
Oh,
hits.
oh, your audio caught out a little bit. Are you still there?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, try that one more time. Okay.
Word. Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking that like time. There's still quite a bit of stuff to do in 2 weeks, even though it's longer than most game jams. There's still like you have to manage that time. So it's always a interesting challenge, but also I think it's just enough time to give people a little bit of like, I can get something done, right? But you have to manage it though at the same time. It's easy to overscope because it feels like it's a lot, but it's not actually. So it's great when we have new people come in. We always love to have a lot more new people come in for the jams and have previous jammers come back in, because each time you do these things or you work on these projects, you get more experience, you get more familiar with making these kinds of things and working within like these kinds of time constraints, and like you get an understanding of how much time something takes, actually when you're making a game or just making a concept, and it's just good practice, in general. So I love that everyone that comes in gets that experience, and that it's a very supportive environment, people to work on these kinds of things, especially. So I'm very much pleased with what people have been able to put together. I mean, and we're always super supportive of in progress stuff. So the fact that Nigel and his team didn't have a full like playable thing available is like so okay, because the fact that like it's the work in progress, there's all these pieces that are already built, right? I played his tabletop version already, for example, so like these pieces are developing and working on, and you get to see all the pieces come together bit by bit, so there's always the progress. Any progress is good progress.
Yeah, I think so
So
frequently we end up in these situations where it's, the game jam is about like a contest at the end, or whatever it is, the end product. But like what I really appreciate about MGK is that it's about creating and fostering a healthy, sustainable community, right? And that means that sometimes you get to the deadline and you're like, here's what I have to show. I did a thing. It might not be done yet, but like what we appreciate is, you took care of yourself. You took the project seriously. You respected your peers. You made something that you can be proud of. And like, I feel, even though, I have typically lurked in the community, like even after watching these, I'm like, maybe I could do the next jam. I could
a
do
little
something, so yeah, so I really appreciate it. This community's dope, and y'all
Love
taking the
that.
time on a Sunday evening, that means a lot.
Love that. Yeah, exactly. I'm glad that you brought those points up. And to what you were saying before too, about AAA and indie, we have the interesting part is, a group like this and the way our collective's growing, we have a mix of developers that have had the experience of AAA and indie and AA and all those kinds of things. When it comes to new ideas that bubble up, even in large scale studios, some of their new original concepts start out as game jams, right? And they just get the incubation, and they get paid to jam on a game.
Right.
You know,
Tell me about that. Tell me more.
right? It's like, yeah, we're gonna do that for like a month. We're gonna make game jams and see what's gonna be our next big thing, you know.
Mhm.
So to do that kind of thing, to set up methods and things where like people can be supported in an environment where they can, you know, work on new concepts or old concepts and try to see how far they can take them and get access to, you know, resources along the way. That there's no, you know, if we, you know, maybe at some point we'll have actual like stuff that you get for, you know, reward and stuff like that at the end and those ranking type things, but the focus will always be what you can create in that time and doing it sustainably, right?
Right.
And that's like always going to be the focus, no matter what extra things we add on. So that's the key part. Bass Reeves, that was mentioned, started out as a game jam game, right, a year
Yeah.
ago, and they're still trying to like push it to the next level at this point. So more of that kind of stuff is what we're trying to foster, and it's great to see that things are happening. So, you know, just thanks to everybody that jammed us this time. You know, I hope you all can finish your experiences and polish them up to the point that you want it to, or if you haven't at the time of submission, you know, continue to do so. You know, as the finish line was the theme, the focus, right? So we still got time in the year to wrap things up, you know. So if you can, try to wrap stuff up before the year's over, and you know, things leave things in a really fresh state to kind of see what's going to come next in 2024. You know, so yeah. Any last words, Josh, before we wrap up?
Thank you for the invite and for letting me co-host over here. I appreciate all y'all in the community welcoming me in. If you want to find more about me and what I do, you can find me primarily streaming for my community Intelligame. That's over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Intelligame. Usually live Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, starting at 9 a.m. Pacific. So it's day stream, but we focus on. One of my community members described it as it's like English class, but for games and without the grades and the awkward pressure. So if you want to come by and have some good conversations about some real quality games, we're playing Paradise Killer right now, and that's been real cool. And otherwise, you can find me on Twitter at Wallstormer. But I also recommend you find me on Blue Sky instead at Wallstormer, because I'm so done with Twitter. And if anybody needs a Blue Sky invite, legit, send me a DM. I would be happy to pass one on to you. I'm so done with that damn bird site. Anyway.
That's real. That's real. I might need to start using my Blue Sky account. Actually, I might need to actually start.
Real talk. I don't care if it's co-host, if it's Blue Sky. I don't care. It's start a newsletter. I don't give a. I whatever. I got feels about Elon Musk, and we all do, and nobody needs to spoil their perfectly good game jam with that nonsense.
Yes.
We got sweet potatoes. We got yams. We got games.
That's right. That's right. Thanks for co-hosting, Josh. It's been awesome having you. I know all the teams enjoyed you doing the interviews today and engaging them, so that's great. You know, everyone have a good holiday coming up week. Eat some good food, enjoy some friends, some family, share some love. And we'll catch y'all at the next game jam.
Yeah, see you folks.